Всем доброго времени суток, мы продолжаем проходить Vampyr. Так. Бум. И бум. Сейчас проверим все работает, здорово. Ой, мышка. Ой, какая сенса большая. Войти в Пемброкскую больницу. Я принял помощь доктора Суонси и буду работать в Пемброкской больнице. У меня выбора нет. Этот человек знает о моем состоянии, о том, кем я стал, о том, что я вампир. Это невероятно, я ничего не знаю об этой больнице. Все здесь будут думать, что Джонатан Рид знаменитый хирург, хотя это уже не так. Я должен лгать им всем, пациентам, персоналу, это мой новый дом. Здесь я буду прятаться от всех, кто преследует меня. Здесь я буду прятаться до тех пор, пока не пойму, что происходит. Так, ну очевидно нам... Что это? Кто это? Ой-ой-ой.
It's okay, Jonathan. I'll see you later.
Ладно. Окей.
Nah, it's my turn.
Ух.
Rotten autocracy. Each heart contains the seed of life. Drink at this river. Try it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard. I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse.
Я заставлю вас истекать. Повежливее со мной. Убью вас. Давай повежливее.
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Качество крови. Качество крови указывает на то, сколько единиц опыта вы получите, убив этого горожанина. Чем выше качество крови, тем больше опыта вы получите. Ну, совсем маленький. Сначала нужно забить дальше потусторонний глаз. Если ваш уровень гипноза равен уровню сопротивления жертвы или превосходит его, вы можете получить контроль над ее разумом. А если я не хочу гипнотизировать? То есть тут еще какие-то подсказки есть. И в принципе персонаж важен. Нет, я не хочу пить. Блин, я не на все кнопки нажал.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
Не, чувак, я тебя отведу. В смысле? Сюда иди. Нажмите А, чтобы объять Клея Кокса или отпустить его. Объяв его, вы получите много единиц опыта, но помните, это приведет к определенным последствиям. Чем больше вы узнаете о горожанах, и чем больше собираете связанных с ними подсказок, тем больше получаемый опыт. Чтобы продолжить, нажмите А. Нет, я хочу его отпустить.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
What happened?
Тебе нормально стало? О, Господи.
Did I black out?
Слушай, у тебя кишки наружу. Что, ты пойдешь со мной? Я думал его отвезти.
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go, but no famished hunter can run for long.
Ничего. Мы будем умными, вампир. Я всегда теряюсь, это открытый мир. Уайтчепел? Слушай, не тут же жил Шерлок Холмс.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Так, ну-ка. 3 подсказки, да?
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Окей, трудоголик.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Окей, не хочешь говорить, не надо.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Да, обязательно.
I'm not one to make wait, Doctor. I have patients to attend.
Ладно, если пациенты ждут.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
Интересно. Ой. Он превратится в вампира?
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Это что вы говорите?
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
Окей, ничего там мне не расскажешь, да?
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second
Второй
floor
этаж.
of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Окей, пойдем туда.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Госпиталь полон. В связи с эпидемией инфлюенции эта больница больше не принимает пациентов. Мест нету, пожалуйста, возвращайтесь домой. Интересно, мы можем разработать лекарство? О, доктор. Здравствуйте.
Good evening, sir.
So it is
Я
true.
вампир.
The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Кстати, не такой уж и прокачанный этот парень. Не такой уж важный, видимо, для сюжета.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Какие хорошие люди есть.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Да. Тогда женщины не могли быть врачами.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office down again.
Кстати, да, тогда женщины не могли быть врачами, только медсестрами. И была одна такая женщина, я не помню ее имени, в общем, она скрывала свою половую принадлежность, скажем так. И да, у нее получилось стать врачом, она лечила, и уже в конце своей жизни, даже уже тогда, когда она покинула этот мир, оказалось, что это женщина была. Этот мужчина был женщиной. Ужас.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No, we must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Блин. Ну ладно.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran.
No, we must keep on...
Nurse Brannigan, you don't have...
Ага, нельзя этот ответ к делу
Goodbye,
как
Dr.
изменить.
Tibbets.
Прикольно, прикольно, хорошо, молодцы, сделали. Так, вам не нужны эти лекарства.
The patients are not fools. They know we are overwhelmed by this
Блин,
horrifying
зря я рассказал.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Окей. Мне кажется, между этой парочкой что-то
Goodbye, nurse.
есть.
Call me.
Так, давайте посмотрим, что у нас еще во дворе. Ты кто такой?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
Okay.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
Ого.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Окей. В саду что-то есть.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Тоже верно, на самом деле. Так, что у тебя есть?
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Мушкетон какой-то, а? Дробовик Милтона. Уже дальнего боя. Чего-то лишнего у меня нет. Где тут сад? Ку-ку. Странное что-то. Чё-то на Твиче я не в онлайне. В онлайне.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
Город тебе, человек, вовремя получивший медицинскую помощь, это удар в самое сердце эпидемии. Требуются волонтеры. Окей?
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Так, что у тебя?
Do you need medical help yourself, nurse?
I'm fine, really. I just need to sleep.
Да, она такая важный человек.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Ну, подождите. Мы с вами говорим. Так, подожди.
How would you describe the situation?
It's
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Мы поговорим с ним. Где он?
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm fine, Doc. Physically, at least. But I would give everything to be in a better place right now.
Goodbye, Milton.
Подожди, там еще ящик?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Капец, ты с кем?
Good evening,
Со
Doctor.
всеми можно
I
переговорить.
believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Что там, кто там ходит?
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Ладно, пойдем поговорим с этим парнем.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior, a man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
О, господи, сколько...
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Все нормально.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Ого. Кого дилетантом назвал.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Ого. Так, ладно.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Ничего не знаю, такого не было.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Я тебя видел.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Will this shift never end?
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
Кем работаешь-то?
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Сейчас, секунду. Продолжим.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Ну надо же. Пипа, ты что делаешь?
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
She charged you For a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
Надо разобраться. Что же это такое?
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Так, ты.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Блин. Хорошо, я воды попил. Сильно горло болит? Мне кажется, его укусили.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Как у него шея выворачивается.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Ладно.
How painful is it?
So painful.
I'll let you get some rest then.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Так, я тут со всеми поговорил.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Don't waste your time with me.
Ты-то кто такой?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Так, секундочку. Да, все нормально.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
Okay.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
Да, печально.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
I'm all right. Considering the state of this place,
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
My sweet girl.
Подожди.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Tell me more. What happened?
Еще одна подсказка, да?
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen.
Так, нам надо...
As for me, what a bloody
медсестру.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Да нет, не тебя.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Красиво.
The daily routine.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Would be, sir.
Damn. The pain.
Ой.
It's here again.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Вот она, вот она. Или нет?
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Как-то там ее звали, блин.
Daily routine.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Reed. Blood is the only drug I need.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Мы пытаемся убедить вампира, что он не вампир.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire!
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Плохо, что у меня нету...
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I wish I could be sick again. So many deaths. My blood boiled with fever, not of my own life.
The daily routine.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Doc.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Time has lost its effect on me. But the suffering...
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Do you know Tom?
Tom?
Нет.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Странно, да. И на меня не действует.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really. But I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton?
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
А где эта медсестра,
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
They may lack the resources, but we have some of the most brilliant minds in London at Pembroke.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Callaghan fellow.
Disgust on every street corner.
Эти двери не будем открывать пока. Их жизнь зависит от тебя. Требуются медсестры. Обращайтесь в ближайшее представительство Министерства труда и пишите по адресу Лондон, Кингуэйс, 15. Блин, я всех этих диалогов залипаю. Ты у нас кто? Красавица. На втором этаже должен быть наш кабинет. Ух. Старая пила.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. О. Короче, это бонус за предзаказ. Записка от доктора Свонси. Джонатан, я попросил сестру Крейн подготовить для вас кабинет на втором этаже. К сожалению, я не могу вас проводить. Мне нужно немного поспать перед работой. Я всего лишь простой смертный. Заранее прошу прощения за скромную обстановку. Пембрукская больница, да, далеко не Риц. Я распорядился, чтобы вам никто никогда не входил, поэтому спокойно спите днем и работайте по ночам, если вам угодно. Здесь нет лаборатории, но вы можете проводить эксперименты у себя. Кроме того, в кабинете есть окно, за ним строительные леса, которые позволят вам незаметно уходить и возвращаться. Должно быть, сейчас вам кажется непривычным и пугающим. Я долго изучал представителей вашего вида и понимаю, что вы сейчас чувствуете. Можете рассчитывать на мою помощь. Я рад познакомиться с вами в это тяжелое время. Надеюсь, наше сотрудничество принесет блестящие результаты. Добро пожаловать в Пембрукскую больницу, уважаемый коллега. Скоро мы еще побеседуем. Искренне ваш, Эдгар Гриффит Слонси. По скриптам прикладываю копию всех своих записок о том, что я узнал об Эконах. Эконы — это вампиры. Понятно, за последние годы. Прочитайте их, только не используйте эти знания против меня. Могу еще переодеться, да? Я не хочу пользоваться. Что это такое? Верстак. Подожди, я могу... А, понятно. Перерабатывать некоторые вещи. Спать не будем, толка нету.
Давай. Не, мам, нельзя зайти. А с другой лестницы попробуем. Нет. На кладбище выйти. Фу, кладбище. Сад.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Уже поймали одного. Парировать. Окей. Надо кровушки попить. Пожалуй, одного осталось. Слушай, сложно. А? Объявление. Меры против инфлюенции испанского гриппа. При кашле или чихании прикрывайте рот платком. Ходите на работу пешком, не сплевывайте, пейте только из личной чашки, избегайте скопления людей. В случае недомогания ложитесь в постель и вызывайте врача. Изготовление маски. Слушай, я прям не заболею испанским гриппом этим. Так. Того мы парня убили, да? А нет. Он появился. Надо вспомнить, как... Вспомнить, как против... так делать. А ведь тогда он говорил, у него один больной. Там еще один. Так, на тебе потренируемся, да? Там... Где меня? А, просто вывести из... Фотография на бумажке. В бумажнике. Тьфу. Фотография улыбающейся парочки. На обороте несколько слов. Милтон и Пиппа. Навсегда. Oh.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Так, это крыло больницы заброшено. Прикольно. Кстати, надо анализ крови-то провести. У себя в кабинете. Ладно. Так, мы здесь были. А, ну, в принципе, он может пробежать.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Пока что твой бумажник спас.
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody's as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Кстати, почему?
Goodbye, Milton.
Пойдем с Пипой поболтаем. Пипа.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes? Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Okay.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Пойти загипнотизировать этого Милтона.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Зубки покажи.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activity.
Ёлки-палки, не так пропускается.
Not now.
Доктор Сонси. Окей. Так, где-то тут стол должен быть.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Где угодно могу достать. А, на улице, там тоже. Как же мне этот анализ сделать-то? Так. А, вот. Слабая сыворотка регенерации. Моментально восстанавливает 30 единиц здоровья, а затем 150 единиц здоровья за 15 секунд. Нормально.
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
Я посмотрю, что там наверху. А, точно. Что, побегаем по улице?
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Так, погоди. Где же тут отношения? Основное здание. Отдохнуть? Нет. Так, где-то тут. Переутомление. Мортимер. А, ну да, вот они же вместе, они типа парочка. Окей. Так, что у нас по заданиям? Давай, когда аптеки сгоняем. Эй, иди. Фига себе далеко. Ну ладно. А, мы тут были. Дурак. Там убежище, да? Да. Тут... О, странно, убежище не показывается.
It's locked, all right.
Кстати. Инфлюенция часто сопровождается пневмонией. Чтобы предотвратить распространение испанского гриппа, не выходите на улицу. Что тут какая-то бойня была. Сейчас этот пройдет. Человечек.
I said stay away, sir.
Окей, окей. Офигеть, они зоркие, я скажу. Тук-тук. Карантин. На территорию не заходить. Распоряжение санитарного инспектора.
Stop right now.
Что? Что от меня хотите?
Sir, step away.
Капец, тут месиво. Тут уже эти монстрики, да? Хотя бы крови попьем. Офигеть. Один стул. Конечно. Конечно, 11 уровень. Большой нож. Большой красивый нож с именем, выгравировано на лезвие. Хороший нож. На клинке нарисовано... на клинке гравировка клей. Кому принадлежит... кому придет в голову писать свое имя? Так, расследование. Доступно новое расследование. Откройте меню расследований. По районам. Чтобы приступить к заданию, выберите его, нажав X. Ага. Блин. Ну ладно.
This is an impressive knife. There's a name engraved on the metal. Clay. What kind of man puts his name on a knife?
Еще он, главное, его спрятал. Не повстречать бы еще чудиков этих. Опа. Это уже там. Не хочу я открывать эту дверь. Все понятно, короче. Замечательно. Урон от тьмы. Понял. Так, надо его прихвостнем убить. Это не прихвостнем. Блин, ну... Я же жал. Подозрительно. Ну ладно.
Good evening, sir.
Who the fuck are you? Don't you see I'm busy here?
Dr. Jonathan Reed, that's who I am. And who are you?
Ah, some fancy gentleman we've got here. Clear off. We don't want strangers on our streets.
So you won't tell me your name, then?
The name is Booth Digby. Maybe I'll ask my boys to break one or two of your bones, just so you remember it.
Are you some kind of vigilante patrolling these streets at night?
Something like that, but the police aren't in charge here. We are, see?
Mm-hmm. So you're a concerned criminal, is that it?
Using funny jokes about me and my boys, are you? Fuck. You must have some balls.
I saw many men like you during the war, Mr. Digby. Greedy little cockroaches who feed on despair.
I could kill you for saying that. But, nah. You've been a soldier. I can respect that.
So, tell me about your gang, then.
What? Have you got a death wish? You really want me to answer that?
Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for?
Oi! I'm the boss, all right? The Wet Boot Boys work for me. All of them. Situation round here is better than other districts because of us. Because of me.
То есть все будут счастливы, если я тебя съем.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here, like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
Okay.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby.
Где-то там убежище. А, вот и королева, да?
Good evening, miss. I am Dr. Reed. May I ask you a few questions?
Who are you? What do you want?
As I just told you, I'm a doctor. From the Pembroke Hospital, actually.
The Pembroke Hospital, you say? I ain't paying any bill left by Clay.
I'm not here to collect payment, Miss...
Miss Edwina Cox. So what do you want then? Fancy buying something from me, maybe?
What can you tell me about your work?
I'm a businesswoman. I buy and sell things, and I send my wet boot boys after anyone who don't play nice with me.
Gang member and shopkeeper. Can't be easy running double shifts.
If you're interested, I may find use of a doctor who can freely walk across the city, you know.
You're quite blunt, aren't you?
I like people who know what they want and say what they think. This is a time of great opportunity for those ready to embrace their destiny.
I'm not interested in a career in the criminal underworld, Miss Cox.
Fair enough. Stay away from us then, if you don't want to get hurt or worse.
Since my return from the war, I don't feel that concerned by threats, knives, or even bullets, if you must know.
That's exactly what that stupid trade unionist claimed after he attacked one of us. Booth and I reminded him a bullet beats words every time.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
You can't trust anyone around here. As soon as you lower your guard, you can be sure some arsehole will take advantage of you.
Really? Don't you think that's a little bit excessive?
Bastards, all of them. This region only responds to violence and threats.
You sound like you're thinking of somebody in particular.
Take the gravediggers of Southwark. They must pay me every week, but it looks like they forgot who gave them permission to steal from the dead.
Looting corpses in a mass grave. That is a new low.
Whatever. Hey, since you're a doctor and all, maybe you can access that forbidden area and remind those bastards what they owe.
Ой-ой-ой. Так, в чем мы можем...
Booth Digby looks at you with love-struck eyes. Tell me, Edwina, is the feeling mutual?
You have no idea how refreshing it can be for a woman to receive all the pleasure she needs. For once.
I'll take your word for it.
What is it, Doctor? A woman's not supposed to talk about these things.
Behind all your crude words and your attitude, I sense romance and a soft heart, Miss Cox.
Romance? I have no time for such rubbish. I use Booth like I use everyone else.
Tell me about the man you and Booth killed, Edwina.
The bastard killed one of us and received retribution. There's nothing else to say.
What happened exactly?
I don't know and I don't care. One of ours was killed by that communist bastard, but he didn't brag for long.
So you have no idea what really happened, but you executed him anyway.
No one messes with the wet boot boys, Doctor. This is our territory, and this is our law.
А ты не особо-то умная, да?
And your conscience is clear. You kill without hesitation.
Violence is an efficient tool, Dr. Reed, when used properly.
So you decide who lives and who dies, just like that.
Yes, Doctor. Just like that. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying it's my way of dealing with troublemakers.
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you.
Патроны. Сумки всякие. Масло. Винты. Окей. Пойдем к Буну. Ты оделся.
Seen any new faces round here? The sewer dog's fault, they say. Then the...
Так.
The epidemics, everyone's throwing the blame.
Что, поспим? Ага, вот она, прокачка. Укус. Организм, состояние организма. Блин, ну, конечно, его надо качать, мне кажется. Стойкость. Выносливость, кровь. Начать забрасывать, еще крови получаем перекусив в бою. Давай это разблокируем. Уровень 6 необходим. Тут. Уровень 8. Да. Нет, давай-ка организм прокачаем. Выносливость тоже. 5-й уровень. Патронаж, сыворотки. Блин, вкусы, конечно, здорово. Повысим. Ну, что это такое? А, могу ли я прокачать 500? Инвиз. А это просто скачок. Нет, нет, нет. Спим. Ого.
You again. What do you want?
Tell me about the man you killed, Booth. What happened?
One of us had been killed, so we had to retaliate. That's the whole story.
There has to be more to it than that.
No, really. One of us got killed, so the killer had to die. That's how things have always been done round here. No one gives a shit.
I think you're wrong. Maybe the docks have always been violent, but you can't say the living don't suffer because of it.
And then what? Let the commies and the anarchists rule? Nah. We're the wet boot boys. Our fathers died on these docks and they belong to us.
Do you need medical help, sir?
I feel fine, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. It's locked, all right.
Окей, придется обратно бежать. Сейчас я выношу легкую вот. Список доктора Стрикланда. Заказчик доктор Торос Стрикланд. Пембрукская больница. Список веществ и ингредиентов. Медицинский опиум, гипохлорид натрия, пермангат калия.
Opium is one of the main ingredients of Strickland's medication. Never a good move.
Это наш клиент. Да не туда, блядь. Сос. Архиваль, привет. Меня практически не слышно. Тогда, значит, игру сделаем потише. Примерно вот так вот. Блин, как же он меня выцепил, а? Не, ну убивать надо фармить.
Over there! There's one of them!
Господи Иисусе, зачем я вообще это въезд? Ай. Чуваки меня просто размотали. Что-то вообще быть добрым вампиром — это сложно. Да, похоже на то. Так, давай-ка еще посмотрим возможные квесты. Так, это мы выполним. Так, это отнести нож его владельцу. Это, кстати, рядом должно быть. Отслеживать. Отлежать. Так. Так, погодите-ка. Погодите-ка. Да? Я думал, он где-то тут. Про этого парня тут говорили. Так, ладно. Если это в больнице, то этот... Тоже больница. Ладно, погнали в больницу.
Die, vermin!
Да в смысле? Их можно просто пробегать, но дело в том, что если ты пробегаешь, то типа опыта не дают. А опыт нужен. Я хочу сначала добрым вампиром проходить. Ну как сначала? Я вряд ли еще возьмусь за это. Просто если ты будешь есть ни в чем не повинных граждан и получать много опыта, то все будет гораздо легче. Так. Но из-за этого ты там пропускаешь кучу всяких штук.
Safer places to be than here.
Я тут.
It's one of them!
Надо с огнем этого парня убить.
There's one of them vermin!
О. Давай. Давай, ударяй. Опять коп. Не знаю, это как-то влияет на обстановку в городе или нет. Помнится, в Dishonored, если ты убиваешь много людей, то чума начинает расползаться по городу. И все такое прочее. Так, мне сюда? Куда-то сюда. Выяснить, кто шпионит за Тельмой. Окей. Подозрительно. Где тут мой гипервижен? Эти ребят. Ну. Да елки-палки. Нафиг иди со своим огнем. Давай, давай. Ты. Тайминги. Готовы. Разведка. 25 октября от командного пункта стражей Привана. Кому? Патрулям в Ист-Энде. Тема действия вампиров, больница, изучить, расследовать. 3 дня назад до одного из наших рекрутов дошел слух о том, что некая женщина-вампир прячется в Пембрукской больнице, лондонский Ист-Энд. Нам известно лишь ее имя, Тельма. Ваша задача незаметно пробраться в больницу и наблюдать за действиями вышеуказанного кровососа, а затем сообщить о них нам. После этого мы решим, что следует предпринять. Сделаем из нее параноик. Это перемещение, конечно. Тут нельзя, тут уже нельзя. Первый раз вижу этого врача.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead. A colleague? Are you a doctor too? Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana. Pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue. What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked? No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Откуда ты берешь свои товары?
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses? Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof.
No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks.
Случаем не тот парень.
A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Не тот парень, который в самом начале там с нами переговаривался. Типа, брось раненого. Нет.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Да. Грустная история.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Но это точно предотвратит эпидемию, да, чуваки. Хотя бы сжигали, наверное.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
Ну, естественно, это же покупатели. Не доверяю я тебе, индус.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Значит, вы готовы умереть?
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Окей.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana.
I cannot enter.
А этот парень имеет туда доступ.
It's locked.
И ключи у него, да?
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
I located the shop, but it was vandalized, and the owner is missing. All I found was your order.
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't be just headaches you're trying to cure.
This dreadful influenza, of course. I already ran some tests on hopeless cases. Without success, I must admit.
Do you realize you could create a lethal poison without the correct dosage? Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reed? However, if you would agree to improve it, I'd be glad to accept your help.
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with your experiments, I may try to gather these substances, and even help improve upon the mixture.
That's all I'm asking for, Dr. Reed. That's all I'm asking.
Окей. Кстати, было бы здорово, да, ингредиенты достать.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak to me now, Thoreau.
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reed. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance by daring to face them.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of cynicism.
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reed. I've read all your articles and books. You performed the most daring research during the war.
You have my support, Dr. Strickland. I know exactly what it feels like to battle an unknown disease, with only your mind and force of will to help you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. You don't know what that means to me.
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
You don't have to worry about me, Dr. Reed. I am here to assist you, not to be a burden.
Нормально.
Goodbye,
Это
Dr.
можно
Strickland.
взять. Прям вот жирный
I can't
чувачок.
let Strickland put his patients at risk with opium. Perhaps an adjusted formula will deliver more of a placebo effect.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Так. Блин, командный пункт надо найти. Нет. Давай-ка еще тут. Еще заданица было. И вот оно.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Это не он.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book. Come now, never. Anything from her.
They may lack the result, but we have some of the most brilliant minds in London.
The pain.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening.
How close are you to Miss Hallcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
Ха-ха-ха-ха-ха.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Печально, печально. Чувак, ну...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Интересно.
Damn. The pain. It's here again.
Так. Где же мне достать этого парня? Я его не вижу тут. Может, наверху? Нет. Что?
Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets.
Так, медсестры. А, вот он. Точно, я-то думаю, где он? Все нормально с тобой, чувак?
Did I black out? What happened?
Блин. Видимо, надо поспать тут, чтобы его перенесли. Какой-то баг. Ходить только к своему риску, на свой риск, на свой страх и риск. И я уже чувствую, что будет больно. 17 уровень. Это тройная атака, это уже исполнено. Охренеть. Относительно вербовки парней его и Чепеля, кажется, одного я нашел. Это Альби. Он тупой, как табурет, но крепкий. Я попросил его раздобыть лекарства для продажи на черном рынке, и он быстро их доставил. При следующей встрече я скажу ему, что его приняли в мокрые ботинки. И теперь он должен получать приказы у своих новых боссов. Так, ладно. Подожди, а мне туда и надо. Печально, печально. Так, он один, да? Похоже, один. Нет, не один. Блин, 6 шейдингов. Маловато будет.
Burn it, boys!
Трое. Блин, я не сказал бы, что вампир это какой-то стелс-экшен, но, блин, по-иному, мне кажется, врагов тут не убьешь. Я не знаю, куда я зашел. Но я зашел. Ой-ой. Мне кажется, там парень забаррикадировался просто. Держитесь подальше, кипят. Спасение граждан. Гражданин, которому грозит опасность, может не дожить до следующей ночи. Навестите его. Угу, да.
It's locked.
Блин, до него добрались уже, что ли? Иисус. Так, а где второй? Блин, эта тварь телепортируется, точно. Короче, в вампире надо качать ХП и выносливость. Весь смысл тут в танковке. Мышка, 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 покажись. Жесткая камера. Да. Пипец полный.
Get away from me! Don't touch me with your disgusting hands! Damn strangers are attacking me! Get away from me! Don't touch me with your disgusting hands!
Сразу, да что ж ты под удар подставляешься, а? Все. Сейчас, погоди, чувак. Дай мне сделать свои вампирские дела. Все. То есть ты хочешь сказать, вампир просто тянул на себя?
This is Braille. I need someone who can read this.
Ага. Судя по всему, это какая-то лавка докторская была.
What happened? Who are you?
It's all right, sir. You're safe now.
Oh, a fellow Englishman. Thank you, sir. For a moment, I thought those bloody heathens had killed me.
What are you doing here? This place is not safe.
Yeah, it's a cesspool, but it's mine. I came to collect some overdue rent, but those who still live here have gone completely bonkers.
You're very lucky to be alive.
Yeah, filthy immigrants. Fucking savages, every one of them. And now with this bloody fever, they're just animals.
You can find safety of sorts in Whitechapel. If you're quick and cautious, you'll be able to avoid the savages.
Гражданин спасенный. Вы спасли гражданина, следующую ночь он вернется в свой район. О, окей. Вообще, блин, я думал, это аптека или что такое, тут врач обитает. Ну, нет. Так, где-то тут дверь была. Дератизация. Достижение. За поедание крыс. Ой-ой-ой.
Sir, no civilians allowed. Don't come any fucking closer.
Я понял. Я уже ухожу. Она, кстати, выглядит как вампир. Бледная кожа, вот это вот все. Так, задание я не выбрал. Бум.
Stop right now! Stupid beast!
Elite boy! He's dead!
Это все. Уровень, 17 уровень, куда я иду? Погоди. О, да ладно. Это срань против меня работает.
Filthy fucking beast!
Серьезно. Так, ладно. Нет, нет. А, он застрял вообще в дверях. А может мне открыть дверь? Да дверь открыть, дай. Открой. Нет. Не работает, да. Все, успокойся. Успокойся. Дверь. Дверь открывай. Ладно, пора умирать, чувак. Тебе, не мне. Угу. Где-то наверху. Ничего интересного нет. Кто я так пробежал? Стоп. Стоп. Угу. Большая банка таблеток. Вау. Ой. Негатив. Старый кол стражей Привана. Что это такое? А, подожди, у меня был такой, да? Я могу его прокачать? А, да. Угол. Крошечная часть обычной рукояти еще нужна. Окей. Отчет о Пембрукской больнице. Сэр, мы наблюдаем за Пембрукской больницей уже 2 недели и можем подтвердить, что там действительно действуют вампиры. Во-первых, теперь у нас есть доказательства того, что в больнице находится женщина-кровосос. Это хитроумная тварь. Чтобы замаскироваться, она выдает себя за психически больную. Я лично пробрался в больницу и слышал, как существо жалуется на то, что ей нужна кровь. На то, что ее тело разлагается. Но это еще не все. Администратор Пембрукской больницы, доктор Суонси, по словам нашего командира Аманды Тилтон, которая погибла вчера в бою с Клаем у канала, Суонси, возможно, является членом Братства Святого Павла. И если это так, то в больнице, возможно, происходит что-то серьезное. Может, там даже логово вампиров, и их защищают предатели из Братства? Мы не знаем, что делать, но убеждены, что вам стоит побыстрее прибыть сюда, прислать сюда подкрепление и тяжелое снаряжение. Collectibles в виде текста. Ну ладно, допустим. Что это за звук? Как будто радио, но... Так. А, я же эту область зачистил. Точно, точно, точно. Что это за таблетки? Непонятно. Так. Вампир, иди сюда.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
I have made inquiries about the men who were tracking you, Miss Howcroft.
I did not expect a mortal to have this sort of courage. Speak, Doctor. Why are they hunting me down?
It was a misunderstanding. These hunters were in fact looking for a very different creature, but they mistakenly put their sights on you.
I knew it. I have become undone. Those hunters have discovered me, but they don't know what I'm capable of.
If you'll accept some advice from a petty mortal, I think you should assume a low profile and just quietly disappear into the shadows.
You are right. And you have served me well, mortal. Take this as a reward for your time. Perhaps I will allow you to drink deep of my blood. One day.
Thank you. I'll keep that proposition in mind.
Фига себе.
Tell me, Thelma, what do you really know about vampires?
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him hunt and kill. I saw his terrible wounds heal as his victim died. And then I knew I was saved.
You mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London?
Yes. And it has been the answer to my pain. I must drink and kill to regenerate my decaying body. I am a vampire too.
You are no vampire. You are a delusional woman, convinced she is something she is not.
How convenient to call delusional anyone who does not share your precious rationale, Dr. Reed.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Oh.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
Ты задолбала.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities. Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Reconstructive surgery has been very successful for some soldiers.
I don't want to wear a bloody mask for the rest of my life. I'd rather stay here and just be forgotten.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Самая загадочная личность тут.
It's locked, all right.
Time has lost its effect.
Так, больница. Ладно, что, отдохнем? Нормально. Что это такое? Кровавый барьер. Получает урон от оружия ближнего боя, пока не исчезнет или не будет уничтожен. Это здорово. Вы останавливаете кровь в венах цели, делая ее беззащитной. Тоже здорово. Все, отдыхаем.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Ладно, и на этом, я думаю, завершить стрим. Всем спасибо, что смотрели. Всем пока.